All right, greetings from my recording studio. I'll give you a tour some other time and show you about my templates. I basically have 5 computers, 4 slaves and a master, and I'll talk more about all that stuff when we get into it. But right today, I just want to talk about some basic logic stuff. So find logic in your dock and launch it. And once it loads, I'll talk about the audio interface. You're going to get this splash window. It might be a little different, but I'm going to create a new empty project. You might also see like icons for hip hop music and et cetera, et cetera. Just create a new empty project. Go, okay. Um, and the next step's important when we're talking about loading multi-timbral instruments. And you'll see how this will make sense in just a minute. So in this case, I'm going to deselect Open Library because I don't want to see the library when it opens in this case. Basically, if you select the library button, the library will pop up and it'll probably default to the electric piano and it'll give you all the instruments that you can load from the library. You can figure that out. I'm going to select multi-timbral, and I'm going to make sure it's 16 parts. And I'm going to create software instrument. Now, before we even get started, I want to show you how to check your for your audio interface. Shouldn't be coming through the computer, should be coming through the audio interface. An easy way to do this is go up to Logic Pro X, go to Preferences, Audio, and you should see your device right here. I'm using an Ensemble, Apogee Ensemble. Yours is going to be different depending on which workstation you're on in the lab, but you get the idea. If it's not, go to the pull-down menu and select whatever one you want and hit Apply Changes. Mine's fine, obviously works. You can also check to see if your MIDI keyboard's working just by playing it. And if you'll notice up top here, you'll see chords go by. So F major, G major. It's pretty good about chords. So if I play a C sharp 11, there it is, 13. Look at that. It's pretty good about doing that. So that's telling me my keyboard is working. Now, notice we have all 16 instruments. They all look the same. And if you're seeing something like this without any information to the left, click on the information icon up here, and you'll get another pull down. All these tracks look the same, but they're not. If you notice, instrument 1 is, if you have a pull down menu right here, click here, and you'll see this coming out of MIDI channel 1. Instrument 1, channel 2 is coming out of 2, so on and so on, all the way down to 16. So they are different. You can collapse that and keep the eye open. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add Garritan Orchestra, or the ARIA player. So how you do this is you're going to go to where it says instrument right here, and make sure that you're clicked on the first instrument track, so it's highlighted, and you're going to go down and find instrument. There's little up and down arrows. You're going to click on them, and we're going to go all the way down to AU instruments, and I have obviously a more options than you do or will in the lab, but you're going to find Garritan. You're going to go ARIA player, and in this case we want to go multi-output 16 channel, 16 by stereo. So there it is, and it's going to load in. Now, first thing you want to do when you load this, it's empty, and we want to assign different outputs to different stereo outputs to our Garritan. So the first one obviously is 1, 2. That's fine. Click on this. Let's go 3, 4. Channel 3 is going to be 5, 6. You get the idea. 7, 8. I don't have to go through and do the whole thing. 9, 10. So you just assign all these up to 16. Then we're going to load an instrument. So I'm going to just, if we click up here, up top where it says empty, we're going to go down to, you can either choose Instant Orchestra or Personal Orchestra 5. Go to Standard. In this case, I'm just going to add a harp. And I'm going to scroll down over and add a chromatic harp. Then I'm going to add another instrument, make this really simple. I'm going to go standard, I'll add a piano, concert piano, intimate D. Then I'm going to add a string. Let's go to standard string section. I'll just add a nice viola lush into here. So I'll slide this over. So now if you'll notice that if I click on this, hit record and play my piano, I have a nice harp. I want to label this, okay? So I'm going to double click here under track name and go harp. It's important that you label these, because if you don't label them, you don't know where instruments, where they are. Next time I'm just going to double click and label piano, and then double click and name viola. Almost forgot what I did. I'm always hitting return. So now I've labeled these. Now, if you go up here, here's my harp. Click down here, here's my piano. Here's my viola. Now, if you'll notice, I don't know if you can see this, but I can actually use the modulation wheel to control the volume. Okay, sounds a little not great, but we'll fix this. Okay, and we're going to fix it within Garritan. I'm going to show you more about reverbs and delays in Logic, but let's fix this in Garritan. So we're going to go to Effects in Garritan. And I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to select the reverb, and there's a preset right here for ambiance. Well, let's go convolution reverb. And we're going to load in, let's load in film score space. Why not, right? So there it is. And now we need to go to the mixer. And if I want to add a little, let's go back to our harp here. Don't hear anything, because I've got to hit the send. See how it's coming in? I don't know if you can hear that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of send for my first 3 channels to get this nice reverb in. Now the string sound should sound a little better. There we go, nice little reverb. Maybe you can use a little more. You can mess around with this. If you go to the effects, you have quite a, so if we go, let's go cathedral. This will be horrible, but yeah, not bad. Make it a large cathedral. Not bad. I thought it'd be bigger. Ha! I wasn't clicked on it. Now it's bigger. So let's go back to our learn something new every day, right? I don't use the Garritan reverbs, but you're going to. So let's go back and go to our film score space. And let's make it a nice little size. Not too much. So there it is. Now, if you'll notice that when I'm on any track here, that the ARIA player is automatically loaded into the track. This saves a lot of memory and RAM, because you're only loading one instance of ARIA instead of 16 separate instances. So it's good to do this. And when we talk about contact, we'll be doing that as well. Now, to record, so the idea is you want to basically have 16 tracks tied into one instance of ARIA player. And we can load, depending on your RAM, I have 64 gig of RAM on this. You can load as many instances as your system will take of the ARIA player or contact, which we'll talk about later. Let's do a little quick recording. Usually what I like to do is have my recording start in measure 2, because if I want to enter with a string thing or something that just kind of creeps its way in, this gives me a little bit of time to do that. So here's what we'll do. Let's get a little harp in. We'll just do something. Let's do piano first. So I'll just do a nice little piano line. This will be a quick, simple arrangement. I'm just going to hit record. You get the lovely idea. So I hit playback. See, my first note didn't quite make it in there. Sloppy. There it is. Now I add a little harp to that, And make sure when you do that, because you can record both tracks at the same time. So you can see what I'm starting to do here. Whoops. My own worst enemy. Here we go. Playback. Oh, it's just beautiful. Then we can put a little viola in this if we'd like. Again, here's where I might want this to creep in a little bit. So here we go. Sorry, I'm doing keyboard shortcuts. You'll figure them out. If I'm going to do this, I could do this all up here, rewind, play, record it. I'm just doing keyboard shortcuts. So here's my viola part. Didn't really creep in. Yeah, I would record that over again. But you get the idea. So if I slide my timeline, by the way, here's your turn your timeline on, timeline off. You can just click and drag it. I forgot I didn't really tell you about that. You can move it around by just grabbing it, making it a hand, moving it around in the middle. So now I can play all of them together without the click. Bad viola part, I have to redo that. So you get the idea. Your assignment for this week is a simple one. I want you to get into Logic. Then once you've saved this, let's talk about saving it. So now I'm going to go Command S. I'm going to save it. And this is important. We've talked about this. I'll save this as Rick. And I want to save this to the desktop. So you're going to go Command D. See how it says Logic? I want to save it to Command D, which is the desktop. And I want to save it as a folder. And go Save. And it will appear right here. And you're going to drag it into your class folders, which I'll create this week in the lab. So your assignment this week is a simple one. All I want you to do is load in, let's say maybe 8 instances of Garritan and get some different sounds and tracks playing and save it, and we'll go over it in class next Saturday or when we meet next, just to get you the idea of running. And then we're going to talk more about how to tweak this and put some convolution reverb in there and experiment. Have fun.